Peter Parker somehow managed to snag a reservation at Manhattan's most exclusive French restaurant. He thought he was finally in for a normal, romantic night with Mary Jane. But because this is Peter we're talking about, things immediately get awkward when he runs into Thor and She-Hulk. Peter tries to play it cool, but Thor introduces him as a consultant for the Avengers, which is basically a fancy way of saying they call him for literally whatever they need. Peter looks around and realizes the place is crawling with every hero and villain in the city, like Doctor Strange being there on a date and even Magneto trying to get a table for one. He's looking all depressed because apparently even master villains die alone. Just when Peter thinks it can't get any weirder, he spots Dr. Octopus and they end up having a heated confrontation in the alleyway. But instead of a death match, they're just arguing over who has more class for French cuisine. Then Eddie Brock shows up out of nowhere, leading to a shouting match where Eddie admits he's just lonely and wants to watch cat videos at their table. Peter actually gives in and lets his would-be killer join them for dinner, realizing that in a world full of gods and monsters, sometimes the most heroic thing you can do is just survive a very, very awkward double date with your worst enemies. After Chef Renaud realized his restaurant was drowning in unpaid bills, he decided the only way out was to stir the pot, literally. He invited the most hostile Marvel heroes and villains to a peaceful dinner, hoping they'd trash the place so he could collect the insurance money and travel the world. At first, things were surprisingly quiet, which actually started to freak the chef out because he needed a fight to happen. Peter Parker was even enjoying a nice date with MJ, thinking for once his life wasn't a total disaster. But the chef wasn't about to let a good meal get in the way of a massive payout, so he accidentally tripped and spilled a glass of wine all over the Kingpin. That was all it took for the entire room to lose its mind. Before Peter could even finish his wine, Wolverine and Sabretooth were at each other's throats because of a spitting misunderstanding, and plates were flying everywhere. Doctor Strange tried to play peacemaker, but Thor saw the chaos and decided it was the perfect time to fight for Midgard, jumping headfirst into the brawl. The restaurant turned into a full-on war zone with Venom tackling Kingpin and Spiderman desperately trying to web everyone up before the building collapsed. In the end, the chef got exactly what he wanted. The place was completely leveled. As the Bistro du Jardin exploded into a pile of bricks, the chef just looked at the wreckage and realized that while he was finally free to start over, he'd probably just created a whole new kind of mess. After Jennifer Walters' dinner date was ruined by a massive brawl, she's standing outside the wreckage with her friends and a distraught chef, who's screaming about his destroyed restaurant, and calling his insurance company, to which Jen decides to have a little chat with the owner's wife since her super hearing is so good she can hear a moth sneeze, and she heard the whole plan to commit insurance fraud because she didn't intervene earlier to avoid causing the exact incident that just happened. However, since she's an officer of the court, she's required to give that info to the police, where then the wife tries to claim it wasn't her idea, but she accidentally plays back a recording of herself proving it was her plan all along, so now she's asking for Jen's legal services to cut a deal, because that definitely wasn't the dinner Jen had in mind. Meanwhile, Peter Parker and MJ are sitting on a roof enjoying some hot pretzels since the original restaurant was a bust, and Peter is feeling a bit sentimental about how he thought the good guys and bad guys could have one night of peace, to which he admits he was wrong. But that doesn't mean MJ was wrong for hopping for it, because he's seen bad guys become good for even just a minute. Since they set aside their labels and costumes for a few hours just to be folks having dinner together, Peter thinks it's a good start, even if it's not the end of the process, where then they both admit they love each other and the city at the same time, which is a pretty nice feeling to have at both ends of the day as they sit together watching the sunset.